Folks, welcome into That Betting Show for March 21st, 2019, your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs. We're getting you ready to dance. He's Teddy Savransky. Give him a follow on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. I'm Donnie Seymour at Right Side VP. Let's get right into it. We're finally out of Dayton, and the big boys are ready to max it up. Break dancing, slow dancing, whatever dancing you have, we're going to get you covered all throughout the day here at sportsbookreview.com. But last night, Teddy, Arizona State and North Dakota State move on as the last two teams to get out of Dayton. Arizona State, if you had them -2, congratulations. A nice, easy wire-to-wire winner. But if you had the North Dakota State game, you sweated it right up to the end on a missed three-point shot. Foul, don't foul. The misery of a sports gambler, Teddy.
Sure, it was a sweat and a half, whichever side you had last night. Certainly, Heron had a real rough night for St. John's. 1 of 12 from the floor that made things pretty easy for Arizona State, although we should give the Sun Devils defense some credit for that. But the sweat in the early game, those are always fun. Of course, we've got the lines already posted for Friday's first-round matchups. These are the play-in games, per se. Duke, -27 over North Dakota State. 148.5 the total there. Buffalo opened 5.5 over Arizona State. We've already seen the money come for the underdog Sun Devils. That line down to 4.5 now on Friday. Total 156. So that's what we have for the winners of the two play-in games last night.
Yeah, outside of those lower level teams, Teddy, you're almost seeing the same type of MO because Buffalo's going to play, comes out, open up 5.5, now down to 4.5. You have that same type of scenario where Maryland comes out at about maybe 4.5. You're seeing that line around 3 now. The one interesting thing, Teddy, is they don't do you any favors. I mean, you get to play in that first 4 game. You get the win. It's nice. Maybe the nerves are out the door, but you're shipped off. Belmont, from what I was reading, Teddy, had like 25 minutes to pack up in Dayton, ship out to Jacksonville, gets in at 5 a.m. when obviously Maryland, who hasn't played, much more rested and ready and a more leisurely pace, probably getting to Jacksonville. Any advantage that you look at, Teddy, when trying to bet into those type of situations?
Oh, yeah. And plus you want to look at those start times. It makes a big difference in my mind if you're playing a day game versus a night game, whether you have 36 hours to prep with travel or 48 hours to prep with travel. It does make a difference. I'm always concerned about the teams that played the play-in game and then have an early start game just 2 days later.
Yeah, no, you're right, because when you take a look at that Belmont game, Teddy, they had the late game in Dayton, 9 o'clock. They get in at 5 a.m. You're not playing your normal 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock start. Maryland's going to tee it up against Belmont at 3:10 this afternoon. We'll see how that plays out. Getting motivated, Teddy, for the NIT. The teams in the big dance, they're there. They're having fun. They're ready to go. But when we take a look at the number 1 overall seed in the tournament, not a lot of fire lit from those boys down on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Opened up at 7.5. Line goes down to 16.5. And they end up getting beat outright at home. And the best part about it, Teddy, is watching that game go down. You saw Alabama. You saw the crowd there, which for a normal SEC game is packed. Maybe 20% of the gym filled. And it sure looked like that same energy level is what Alabama had as well, about 20%.
I mean, that's the way Alabama played the back half of the season. That team did not buy into what Avery Johnson was selling. And we saw them be tentative, be cautious, be a bad team. I know they were on the bubble. They played well early, but Bama down the stretch played poorly, and they certainly were not motivated. The fans weren't motivated. And as a 16.5-point favorite, the number 1 overall seed in the tournament, bye-bye. But that's not unusual for the NIT. The first round of the NIT can be a minefield. Look at what happened with Providence, the other night. They figured they had an easy win over Arkansas. Arkansas was without their best player. Oops. Razorbacks come out on fire, dominate early. Providence never able to match their energy, never able to rally back to even tie the game, let alone win it. So you do see, especially in those first round NIT games, motivation can and will be an issue. Sometimes teams catch a spark here in March and go on a run. And sometimes teams like Alabama, and they just don't give a shit.
Teddy, don't you wish, sports gambling, for what most people on the outside think, oh, it's easy, I'm just going to pick this team and that team going into it. Don't we wish it was paint by the numbers and you could say, hey, look, Brown's playing UAB. Their best player's transferring. What an easy win for UAB, loser. And then you say the same thing because I think that Providence line opened up around 5.5 or 6, closes around 8, and you say, hey, great, their best player's out. I'm going to take Providence, loser. Don't you wish it was a lot easier in the sports world, Teddy?
No, you can't wish it was easier because then we wouldn't have sports betting. If it was easy, everyone would do it. The books would be out of business, and then that'd be that. It has to be hard because that allows those of us who put the time and effort and energy into it, those of us with the experience to figure out the nuances, to have a legitimate edge over time betting sports. So, yeah, the dream scenarios, they're fine, but I don't mind the situation as it is right now. There's opportunities for us, Donnie, even though there are never any true locks.
Teddy, as the one company says, if it's so easy, a caveman can do it. Not correct here on that sports betting show, and also that betting show, I should say. Major League Baseball first look, Teddy. And if you didn't know, if you woke up today, one team's 2-0 in Major League Baseball. Yes, one team is 0-2. Those 2-0 teams, the Mariners, getting another win today early over the Oakland Athletics. I don't know if anybody even watched or cared because, again, Major League Baseball's opening day coinciding right with March Madness. Not the smartest look in the world. Milwaukee Brewers, Teddy, 2018, good baseball team. 96 wins, 67 losses. Currently sitting at an 18-1 ticket to win the 2019 World Series. Brewers win total, 85.5, down from 96 last year. I really like this lineup, though, Teddy, when you take a look at it. The outfield, Braun Kane and MVP Christian Yelich coming back. An infield that has some power and also some speed. The one interesting thing, though, here, Teddy, in the infield, second baseman Mike Moustakas hasn't played there, I don't think, in high school, college, pros, whenever, but they're going to give it a go because the analytics say you can play any position as long as you can rake at the plate. Pretty good pitching staff front line, and I really, Teddy, like this bullpen.
All right. Certainly when we look at Milwaukee last year, we're talking about the most profitable team in baseball. I mean, they made a fortune for their supporters. They were overachievers all year. And that's why you're seeing a team that won 96 games last year being lined 10 wins lower than that this season. The issue with the Brewers, in my mind, is twofold. One, you had a bunch of guys on offense that had career years last year, including Yelich. And Yelich may be that good. You know, is Braun and Kane Braun's getting old, you know? So on offense, they had a bunch of guys overachieve a year ago. I don't know they can do that in 2019, 2 years in a row, though. You know, Grandal behind the plate, certainly a nice pickup for them in that regard. And Moustakas, who's, you know, I mean, he's never been a real masher, but he's been decent. But I do worry about the Brewers' ability to score runs. You talk about the bullpen's great. But the starting staff, I mean, there are questions everywhere with this starting staff. They don't have a number one. They don't have a number two. They've got a bunch of guys that may or may not be able to eat up innings. The advanced metrics on every Brewer starter last year were pretty lousy, which is why they made so much money for their backers, because the market didn't go nuts over this team. I question whether those starters can live up to what they did a year ago. I question whether that lineup can live up to what it did a year ago. And when you look at that division, not a whole lot of weaklings. The Reds are better. The Pirates are every bit as good. The Cardinals are going to be there. The Cubs are going to be there. And I think Milwaukee takes a step back this year, potentially a big step back.
Teddy, real quick on the team total there, when we take a look at it, it says 85.5. You know, some people say, oh, well, wow, they lost a lot of players. They're not going to be as good as they were last year. But I actually attribute it to say this division is really good. And there's a reason why. I mean, you win 96. A lot of things have to go your way. But if we're trying to put, you know, a little bit of randomness in there, or maybe you take a little bit of step back and other teams improve, like you said, the Reds, it's not necessarily a bad thing at 85.5, even though they won 96 the year before, right?
No, they're still bad. I mean, they're being lined as a better than average team, as a much better than average team. You know, and when you add up all the wins and factor in the juice with the MLB win totals, you're going to see every team, you know, it ends up lining up with the appropriate amount of wins, with every team getting 81 or averaging to 81. So when you see a team that is lined 4.5, 5 games above that, and Milwaukee's gotten two-way action in the win total betting markets prior to the season. We've seen some groups come in and really like Brewers over. Other groups have come in and said, no, we're taking it the other way. So this particular season win total has seen a fair bit of volatility, and there are definitely wise guys on both sides of the Brewers heading into the 2019 season. Some people love them, some people hate them. The bottom line is that's not a giant bandwagon team where everybody loves them or everybody hates them.
Teddy, on that betting show here, we like to promote some good things out there and a chance to win some money. Hopefully you're cashing your tickets as you move along here in March Madness. How about a little SBR Madness, Teddy? A private poker tournament now open for registration using the password SBR 2019. When is it going to be, Teddy? Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Tournament number 272-73699. I know you're not going to remember that, but I'm sure we'll have some graphics at the bottom of the screen. Registration is now open. Win your trip to the Final Four. $1,000 U.S. cash prizes free. It's me, Teddy. Been saying it all week. Win on the court, win with SBR and poker.
Yeah, free. This is the operative word. Free. You like to play poker? Sit down to the poker tournament. You got a chance to win Final Four tickets and $1,000 in hotel and flight and all that kind of good stuff. It is a good prize pool.
Taking a look, Teddy, overnight line movers as we see. Look, it's like Christmas. I always get a joy out of NFL mornings, 10, 11, 12 o'clock East Coast time, where it looks like a Christmas tree. That's going on right now. Make sure you check out SBRodds.com for all the latest line movements. Gonzaga, Teddy, getting a little bit of love. We're not scared of these high lines, Teddy. If there's money to be made, people are going to bet it. Gonzaga opens up at Pinnacle minus 26.5, now sitting at 28s across the board. A lot of love for the Zags early, Teddy.
Yeah, Zags coming off a loss. Obviously, in the West Coast Conference Tournament. They haven't played in a while, but certainly when it comes to the travel spots, here's a 16 seed, just played on Tuesday. Now they got to play on Thursday. It's certainly an issue with Fairleigh Dickinson. The market's reacting to that accordingly. And now we're looking at 28 instead of 26.5. If you'll bet it now, you better pray this game doesn't land on 27. You'll be ready to strangle somebody.
We got movement in the NBA, Teddy. Nuggets side on the rise. Offshore book Chris opens up at -5. When I'm taking a look right now, Teddy, 8.5 showing across the board here, total of 230. So even that's on the rise. Moneyline split -370 plus 310. What gives here, Teddy? It's a big line moving on the side.
Yeah. Two things going on here. One is that the Wizards played last night in Chicago. Brutal overtime game. Lost in OT. That was a crushing loss for Washington last night. So balls to the wall last night. Now it's the second of back-to-backs from a team that just, they're still saying, oh, yeah, we can make the playoffs. Not that they were ever going to make the playoffs, but you wonder if now that effort for the Wizards takes a notch or two down compared to where it was. They had been a lottery-bound team playing pretty hard, even though they were, in theory, fighting for that last spot in the East. So you have the Wiz on the second of back-to-backs off the crushing overtime loss, and they're likely to be without a starter tonight. Trevor Ariza got hurt last night. He's listed as questionable here. The markets don't think he's going to play. It's not like Ariza has been a difference maker for the Wizards, but they don't have a whole lot behind him at the wing. So even though he's not an impact player from a point spread perspective, the fact that Washington's wing depth is severely limited has definitely impacted this point spread.
Watch what you bet here on That Betting Show, Teddy. St. Mary's and Nova let the slow dance in the tournament. You got to get the icebreakers going. We all remember being back in 6th grade where the boys lined up on one side of the gym, the girls on the other. Nobody wanted to mingle. The teachers had to bring you together. That's what it's like tonight, Teddy. West Coast meets East Coast. Let's have some fun and bet some basketball. Villanova -4.5 total, 129.5. Moneyline split +172, -205. Going to take place on the East Coast, Teddy, at the XL Center in Connecticut. So we talked about it earlier in the week. Long travel conditions for St. Mary's, but two teams that generally play the same tempo, so a shortened possession type of game. St. Mary's 19-14 against the spread in all line games. 4-2, Teddy, against the spread in neutral court. Villanova 20-14 in all lined games this year, and 2-3 in March. This one should be a good one. We'll see who shots fall in this.
Sure. And in my mind, this comes down to two central questions. The first central question is, how real was the Gales win over the Zags? Because, look, I watched St. Mary's a lot this year. And for most of the campaign, my thought process on the Gales team, they were a little bit soft. They were not super tough. They were not like the recent St. Mary's version that have been physical and tough as nails. This year's team didn't feel that way. And then all of a sudden, they go into the West Coast Conference Tournament. They escape past San Diego, and boom, they annihilate Gonzaga. Was that St. Mary's figuring it out? Because remember, they lost by 48 to Gonzaga the previous meeting. Is that St. Mary's figuring it out? And, this is a bet-on team now? And, the defense is there the way it's supposed to be from the beginning of the season. And we know how Randy Bennett's squads rebound. Defense and rebounding is St. Mary's mainstay. If the win was real, 2,500 miles, I don't care. That was a truly dominant effort. But if that was just Gonzaga off a brilliant shooting effort, off an easy game, just kind of having a bad game, which any team can do in any given day, then St. Mary's might be in a little trouble. But I also have a lot of concerns about Villanova. Most importantly, Nova's endgame. And you talked about it a little bit earlier in the week, talking about how Nova in the Big East tournament and prior, at the end of the game, they're not making good decisions. They're not hitting free throws. They're allowing teams to hang around and cover numbers in games that in previous years, Nova hits the free throws. They get to stop. The ball game's over. They win by 8 or 10. That hasn't been happening in recent weeks. So I'm concerned from the Villanova side about their ability to close out this game without choking away a point spread cover. They've done it a fair bit in recent weeks.
As we're filming now, Teddy, Yale, LSU's underway, Minnesota and Louisville underway. So an exciting day for all. Seton Hall looks to stop Wofford's 20-game win streak tonight. Wofford favored by 2.5 total, 144.5 money line split, plus 140, minus 160. Live from Jacksonville, Florida. Seton Hall, Teddy, 17-16 against the spread in all line games. But an interesting scenario is popping up here. 7-0 Seton Hall is against the spread in neutral court games. Wofford 3-0 in neutral court games. Something has to give. Should be a fun one to watch.
Doesn't have to give. We could see a push. Although at 2.5, we're not likely to do it.
Oh, 2.5. We tough,
there were twos. There are threes out there. Fourth straight trip to the big dance for Seton Hall. They've been pretty good. They won last year in the first round over NC State. Certainly, there's a program under Kevin Willard that is, taking steady steps. Better. Wofford, of course, been in the tourney 4 times. All since 2010, they are 0-4 in their tournament openers. So we look at recent history, make a case for the Pirates as an underdog. But you want to say, what's this game going to depend on? It's going to depend on whether Seton Hall can defend a 3-point line. Who's that kid, McGee for Wofford, 502 career trays. This guy can light it up from downtown. And, of course, it's a Seton Hall team with 3 guys back from last year's tournament team. There's big stage experience for the Pirates, but there may well be a hidden crowd edge in this ballgame that's worth talking about. Understand Wofford's playing much closer to home than Seton Hall. There's going to be 10 or 15,000 Seton Kentucky fans there. Then it's going to be filled with Wildcats fan. And the Wildcats fans are going to be rooting for the Wofford side, not for the Seton Hall side that beat them earlier in the season. Pirates, the more physical team, but they may have foul issues here. If we see a tight whistle in this ballgame, I also think that benefits Wofford more than Seton Hall. That's something to pay attention to early on. If you're betting in-game, if they're calling the fouls, that is not good news for a Seton Hall team that wants to play physical defense.
Yep, boys bring those brass knuckles there from South Orange, headed down to Florida. And also, you're right, Fletcher McGee shooting the 3-point shot. Teddy, over 300 3-pointers attempted already this year. Should be a good one to watch out there. Cuse gets one back and also suspends one in this Baylor tilt. Syracuse sitting at minus 1.5 total, 129.5. It's going to be live from Salt Lake City, Utah. Baylor 16-13 against the spread in all line games, 10-5 against the spread, however, as a dog. Syracuse 19-14 in all line games, 15-9 against the spread as a favorite, and 3-2 against the line in March, Teddy.
Yeah, no Frank Howard for Syracuse. He did not make the trip to Salt Lake City. Jim Boeheim, quote, "He won't be with us Thursday." He didn't say he was going to start in his place. And we are talking about a senior. He's not a great scorer. He averages less than 9 points a game, but has team high in assists and probably played some of the best basketball of his career last week. That loss to Duke, he scored 28 points on 11 of 20 shooting. They have played without him this season. He missed the first 4 games of the season, and in his absence, Tyus Battle ran the point. That's likely to happen again today. But, Battle's quote, "We've played without players before. Foul trouble, you have to play without players. Injuries, you have to play without players. If we play our game, we'll be fine. It's a tough situation to be in. We know we're going to have to pick up the flack." We're going to see a lot more playing time for the Syracuse freshman guards. Jalen Carey and Buddy Boeheim, guys that don't get a ton of minutes, are likely to play some extra minutes this evening. But this game, in my mind, comes down to 2 basic stats, 2 basic handicaps. Syracuse with the 2-3 zone, what's it vulnerable to? It's vulnerable to offensive rebounds. They are number 335 in the country in defensive rebounding. Baylor, number 2 in the country in offensive rebound. The Baylor Bears, if they're cleaning up on the offensive glass, that's going to be a problem for Syracuse tonight. But when you look at the other side of the equation, Baylor has had issues with turnovers at times this year. Syracuse, number 10 in the country in defensive turnover rate. Drew, head coach Scott Drew, one thing we got to do is get shots up. So Baylor can avoid turnovers, win the battle of the glass, or the offensive glass. They're going to win this game. If they're turning the ball over and they're not grabbing the offensive rebounds, they're going to lose this game. And it's just that simple. Frank Howard in the lineup or not. for the Orange.
Yeah, Teddy, you know what's also interesting, too, is Syracuse is one of those teams, that 2-3 matchup zone that you don't get to see too often. You need extra time to prepare for. It's nice when you get to play Syracuse on a Thursday when you know you're going to play them on a Sunday, because that quick turnaround playing on a Thursday and then playing after one day, from that Thursday to Saturday, it's best to catch it so maybe Baylor gets a little bit of a break, Teddy. But the madness is here. And we always like to say, pace yourself, Teddy. This isn't your first rodeo, Teddy. This isn't your first year in Las Vegas where you're not sure what to do when March Madness comes around. If you're home, you get the batteries filled up. If you're at the Sportsbook, lay your wagers down. Don't get too inebriated out there. Don't just fire your money away. There's going to be tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday to bet. It's a great time of the year, Teddy, but always use caution. Money management can slip out the door very easily. And by 3 p.m. today, oh no, asking the wife for more money, Teddy.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I have to, we don't want to give too much caution and all this. If you're struggling to control your betting, it's messing up your life, get help, flat out. Do not run your life down the toilet because you're having difficulty controlling those urges. All that being said, there are great opportunities this week. Don't drunk bet. Everyone's day drinking today. I understand. It's one of those things. That's what we do. But when it comes to putting wagers down, if you're going to drink, get your wagers down early and just watch. That's fine. When you're trying to make good betting decisions, when you're inebriated, I'm sure you know how it works. You wake up the next morning and go, oh, shit, what did I just do? And the rest of the tournament sucks. So I encourage you, bet sober. That's my advice. Enjoy it.
Exactly. And it's also never fun in March Madness, Teddy, when you have a budgeted amount that you would like to use for the entire length of the next 2 weeks. And by 3 p.m. on Thursday, you're already out of your money. Have some fun with this tournament, people. That's what it's here for. Make some money. Sit back and watch That Betting Show, March 21st, 2019, your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs. A lot of stuff going on. Teddy and I will carry you right through the weekend tomorrow with our Friday show. Go over exactly what happened Thursday. Lean towards the weekend. He's Teddy Savransky at Teddy_Covers on Twitter. I'm Donnie Seymour, right side VP. Thanks for tuning into That Betting Show. We'll catch you tomorrow.